Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Dragoon X Omega II. It's time for the final regular episode in this Let's Play. We're going to be heading into the Ark, now that we have the source and the required levels we need to take on the Neverborn. So we're going to get a bunch of plot basically tying up on the reason why all this stuff is happening, why Tyris keeps resurrecting, why the monsters are battling humanity. We're all going to learn all that here in this final regular episode. There will be 2 bonus episodes because we have the bonus dungeon, the nuclear plant, and we also have that other bonus boss back in Edengard Cemetery. So we're going to have to do a little bit of level grinding before that. So we got to level 35 here to take on the final boss here, the Neverborn. And we'll need to get to level 40 to take on the cemetery boss, and then level 45 to finish the bonus dungeon. Max level is 50, so of course I'll end up also doing an episode where I'll show off the max stats at level 50 and maybe fighting the Neverborn with max stats and max gear. So once we get into the Ark, we're going to basically no longer be fighting like robots. So we'll switch back to the railgun. There's more loot as you see at level 35. Enemies start running from you. So now the Ark, this is a really big thing, and there's actually a city inside. So actually some of the backgrounds you can see like city, like structures, buildings in the background. But overall, the Ark is just a straightforward path. It's going to be running straight around some corners, but there's no like branching pathways that'll take you away from your goal. So when the monsters do decide to stay and fight, they can be pretty annoying. We got this Harloot enemy here. A lot of them use magic, and like I said, they're not robots or cyborgs, so they don't have that weakness to the pulse gun. Another one, the Whisper. Not the worst enemy. The worst enemy to fight is the last enemy that we're gonna run into. Not because they're like difficult hard, but because they have quite a few healing spells in the AI list, and they tend to heal themselves up quite often. You just gotta they're like fighting Hilo monsters in Dragon Warrior. Well, if you don't basically defeat them in one turn, they're going to heal themselves up, and then they're just going to start all over again. So that's a lot tougher when you only have one character, like we do in this game. So there's the second of the 3 enemies. Like I said, most domains tend to have 3 new enemies in them, and that's about it. When we go to the bonus dungeon, there's also 3 new enemies there. Those enemies in that bonus dungeon, though, they are so tough. They're almost like as tough as regular boss monsters. In terms of hit points and the damage they do. So we wouldn't want to step foot in that nuclear plant until basically at level 45. It's Tyris again. The Neverborn didn't really die when Nika slayed it. Nika thought the nanomachines in her were destroyed. They were only dormant, shocked by the transfer of the Neverborn's mind. When Nika became pregnant with her first child, the nanos entered the fetus, but the Neverborn was weakened and could not take full control of him. At the end of Dragoon X Omega, we defeated the Neverborn, and Nika thought that the nanomachines that Lord Vin implanted in her to basically force her to do his will, that they were destroyed. But they weren't destroyed, they were just, I guess, taken over by the Neverborn. The Neverborn transferred its conscience from its body into those nanomachines in Nika. Apparently they've been passing down through her descendants ever since. That Sargon and Tyris are both PSI users, so they have, you know, trace it back. They can trace their lineage back all the way to Nika. These are enemies that the Marloots that are pretty annoying. They have the two first spells, Res and Omega. Res I think does like 50 to 100. Omega does 100 to 200. So yeah, these guys can heal themselves up. So you just gotta get lucky and take them out when they're not deciding to abuse their healing AI. Like I said, they don't do too much damage, and we still actually have herbs left over from when we way back at the beginning of the game. The Neverborn made it so the matrix of machines that held his mind would be copied down through generations. Only descendants of Nika's first child have them. So apparently Tyris can trace his lineage back to Nika's first child, well I guess Sargon is from the second. And in me, the mind of the Neverborn awoke, and he seized control of all the others who shared inferior nano-colonies. The Shogunite and Alternates were easy puppets. And now, I will tap into the Singularity Drive and give the Neverborn the power to take my body, as well as my soul. We talk with the eyes. Know now that I am bound to this arc. If I die, it dies with me. No matter the outcome, you die, child of Nika. And thus begins our battle with the Neverborn. We're gonna fight the Neverborn similar to how we fought most of the other bosses. We're gonna basically spend our first few turns buffing. We're gonna use the Vermis implant to protect against the stare. I found out though that the Vermis doesn't protect against stare the entire fight, so we're gonna have to reapply that buff every so often. Shield, we want to put that up to protect against physical attacks. Agnos to protect against the Neverborn's Boar and Hyper Spell. Dogma will remove the Agnest from us, so if he ever casts Dogma on us, we want to reapply that Agnos spell on us. And then we're going to put on Shadow to increase our evasion. And finally we're going to blitz ourselves so that we can get double our attack. So now we can use all our fusion spells if we want to, because Blitz we only have to apply that on ourselves once. It's not like we can stack it over and over again. So might as well just use that fusion attack to get rid of it. Do some extra damage. The problem with the other good attack spells we have, Fission at level 5 and Nova at level 8, is that they share slots with Aura Tap and Aurorus, which is our two good healing spells. So we want to save all our charges at those two levels for healing. So mainly like I said, use Aura Tap, but sometimes if the Neverborn gets us down really low, we want to heal right away with the Aurorus. So that restores us to full health. So, unfortunately, like I said, I've learned that the Vermis doesn't protect against stare all the time. You have to reapply it every so often. I guess it only lasts a few turns. Basically, it seems like every time the Neverborn, after about 2 times he uses the stare, you should probably just reapply it. So, I get lucky here. Well, not really lucky, because I get stared. But he doesn't right out defeat me. Probably the only reason he wasn't able to defeat me was because I had that shield and the shadow, shield, shadow, and Agnos up to reduce the damage that he did. So when he gets us really, really low, that's when we're gonna go into that Aurorus spell. In the meantime, though, when we get around, say around 200 hit points, that's when we can use Aura Tap to heal ourselves up. He can do about close to 200 with a critical hit. So we want to stick around, like I said, a little bit above 200. Heal ourselves up with the Aura Tap. So after he uses Stare about twice, seems you gotta want to reapply the Vermis. So actually I'm going to use the wrong one there. I'm pressing my buttons too quick. Once again, he uses Dogma on us. Throw back up that Agnost. So his main two spells there, War and Hyper, can deal a lot of damage if we're not cutting in half with the Agnost spell. Unfortunately, we're not getting he has a decent evasion himself, so a lot of times we are missing attacks. Blitz should allow us to hit him twice each turn, but as you see, a lot of times we're only hitting him once. So you can be, but as long as you avoid that stare, it's just a long battle, but not necessarily a hard one. So this is why we save our horses, just in case like we do get stared. As soon as we're able to break free, we can get back at their full hit points. But we try, like I said, never want to get really that close to thing. But like I said, unfortunately, the stare knocks us unconscious, and so you can see the Neverborn has a lot of hit points, 5,000. He's often healing himself there with that Origo, which can heal up to 200 hit points on him. So mainly just like I said, a battle of attrition. But as long as you're saving your healing, your Aura Tap, and your Aurora spells, you should be able to eventually take him down and damage him. You also have pills if needed, but the Aura Tap is much better than the pills. But if you do run out of PSI, the pills kind of can be a last resort. We never went through all the pills and all the herbs that we used in this game. But we'll definitely want to have the pills and the herbs when we're going to do the bonus dungeon. Because the enemies in there, they're almost as tough as like the final, well, not necessarily as tough as the final boss here, but they are difficult. They're probably as tough as maybe that carrion boss that we fought in the Deadpool to get the source. Like I said, they're just random encounters. I want to save all our PSI charges for the bonus boss there. And that bonus boss, luckily we were able to use the pulse rifle on it. Even though this Neverborn looks kind of like a cyborg, the pulse gun doesn't do excess damage to it, so we're just going with the railgun. Well, if you sold the railgun earlier, you can use the grav gun that we found in the Deadpool. Slowly and surely whittle his hit points away. I said, even though the Neverborn is the final boss, he is not the toughest boss in the game. Like I said, that goes to the two bonus bosses, and we'll show them off in like the 2 bonus episodes. Next one we will do is the boss in the Eden Guard cemetery. But before we take that boss on, we're gonna have to get a different accessory. We can finally sell that Vermis implant. The Vermis is mainly useful for this guy right here, the stair. But the 2 bonus bosses, rather than focusing on stair, they instead use the fall spell, which is basically instant death. So we're gonna trade out that Vermis implant for the Medulla implant. So that'll be in our first bonus episode. To take on the bonus bosses, we're gonna basically want to get 5 levels for the first one, so level 40, and then level 45 for the other bonus boss in the nuclear plant. And I'll re-show off how to get there. Just keep reapplying that Vermis status to avoid the stare. He says, as long as you're avoiding that stare, it's going to take a while, but eventually you will bring the Neverborn down. He's much tougher in this game than he was in Dragoon X Omega. But, same principle applies. Damage him, heal when necessary. Just a little bit more complicated this time because we have more buffs and to apply to ourselves. And we did back in Dragoon X Omega. I mentioned during that review, it's neat how they took on basically like the two like kind of big founding Japanese role-playing games, Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy I, and they made their own little spin on them and put it into a duology. Yeah. So it's always good when you get the double hits. Even better when you get the critical hit. But yeah, the Neverborn, like I said, has a pretty decent evasion. So a lot of times we're only hitting him once rather than twice. But it's a good thing, like I said, we use the Blitz because at least we're guaranteed pretty much to hit him at least once. Like I said, his evasion is good, but it's not that good that he's going to be able to avoid both our hits. So we should, like I said, be able to hit him at least once. We're under 200 hit points, heal ourselves up. Use that stair, so we're probably going to want to reapply our Vermis status then soon. There we go. Yeah, that was nice. The dogma didn't take effect. So that means that's one extra turn that we don't have to reapply that. Which is good because he's getting a little low. I said it's tough to keep track of his hit points like I normally would try to do with each boss because of how many times he heals himself. But too bad we don't have a hit point bar like how we have. Like I'm thinking like in Breath of Fire, another RPG. Didn't really like that game though, but the bosses have like a little like hit point bar, so you can kind of tell like how close you are to finishing them off. And speaking of finishing off, we have finished off the Neverborn. But just as the Neverborn said, he is linked to the Ark. So defeating the Neverborn will destroy the Ark. And unfortunately, Sargon is on the Ark. Which means that this is not a battle that Sargon is going to walk away from. Either way, child of Nika, you will die. But Sargon, being the hero that he is willing to sacrifice himself for the good of the world. Outshining the sun, the Ark exploded above the world. As the mind of the Neverborn screams in its death throes, the nano-colonies and the people self-destruct. Free of the shadow of evil, the people of Rasela wage war with the last of the Neverborn's beasts. And there'll be no more because they all blew up, so... In time, they rid the world of the last of the darkness, and the people of Hylas and Mocha rejoice. Hylas south of the Great Divide, Mocha is above the Great Divide. And so civilization began its long, slow recovery. A nation more advanced than Mocha arose after the march of centuries. The lives of the people were good. Science flourished, and the way to other worlds was soon in reach. Sequel hook? No, there's no Dragoon X Omega III. And a name was brought with them among the stars, revered by all for millennia to come. Sargon. So his sacrifice wasn't forgotten. Thousands of years into the future. Now we get the credits. You get to see all the folks who made this hack. And while we're just watching that, I'll just, give my thoughts on it. Like I said, it's a little difficult to hack because you only have one party member. So negative buffs are really, really detrimental. It's not like Final Fantasy I where like if one person gets turned into stone or gets knocked out, you still have other three party members to, run away and retreat and heal up. This one you're on your own, but it still uses that same Final Fantasy 1 engine. So debuffs, status effects, really delivered, debilitating in that regard. So main thing is, like I said, save often. It's a good thing they give you those SRAMs to be able to save anywhere on the world map. So as long as you're saving often, you shouldn't lose too much progress. When in doubt, just always gain levels. Like Final Fantasy, the levels are kind of random. So if you're playing this on an emulator, which most likely you are, you could get by reproduction cards, but you can always cheat and save state before you gain a level, and then force the stats to advance. But I didn't do that here because, like I said, I didn't want to cheat. So, but overall, it's a little difficult, more difficult than Dragoon X Omega, but as you can see, it is definitely doable, and also doable. Like I said, the bonus, because it's going to take us a little bit more levels to be able to defeat those bonus bosses and the bonus dungeon, but I will be showing them off, like I said. So even though the game has ended, this playthrough has not ended. There'll be 2 more episodes. The first one, like I said, I'll take on the first bonus boss, the boss in the Eden Guard Cemetery, and maybe show off some of the enemies in the nuclear plant, and then we'll finish off the nuclear plant in the second one. So here we get to see the end, just like in Final Fantasy, but unlike in Final Fantasy 1, they kind of don't color this very well. So, but speaking of well, I hope you enjoy this playthrough. I hope your day is going well, and I hope that everything continues to go well in your lives. Take care, have a good one, see you in the next episode. Bye!